This time in the John Craig Victor Ludorum. Wing a Prayer 7-4 on. Ace of Spies 5-1. Nohalmdun 9-1. And against the grain the same price 14-1 bar those. Starter calling him in. And they're away. Wing a Prayer jumps off in the lead. John Frankham. Wing a Prayer from against the grain. And Ace of Spies. Len Hydrock over on the far side. We're going to Prayer coming to the first flight. From against the grain and Len Hydrock and Ace of Spies as they run down towards the second. Wing and a Prayer. And John Franken been associated 3 times so far, all successfully. They jumped that from against the grain and Len Hydrock. Len Hydrock in the sheepskin noseband. Fourth is Ace of Spies, then Dad's Gamble and Scholar and Mary Jane, and finally Nohalmdun. As they come past the winning post on the first circuit, Len Hydrock takes it up marginally from Wing and a Prayer on the outside, then comes against the grain Mary Jane, who's moved up on the inside of Ace of Spies. Behind them Scholar, Dad's Gamble, and finally John Joe O'Neill riding a waiting race on Nohalmdun. Len Hydrock with a good 4-length advantage now over Wing and a Prayer. Then Mary Jane on the inside of against the grain, then Ace of Spies and Scholar and Dad's Gamble and Nohalmdun. Coming to the next flight over on the far side. Len Hydrock and Ron Forsyth clear of Wing and a Prayer. Then against the grain and Mary Jane and Ace of Spies. Nohalmdun making a little bit of ground, has just relegated Scholar and Dad's Gamble. Len Hydrock from Wing and a Prayer, who jumped it very fast indeed. Then against the grain, Ace of Spies. Nohalmdun improving on the outside. Mary Jane on the inner. And Carl Burke, I called him Kevin earlier on. And John Frankham getting a lot closer now on Wing and a Prayer to Len Hydrock as they jump that flight. Against the grain, and Ace of Spies next, then Nohalmdun, who's going well in 5th place, and then Mary Jane, who's losing ground, and still Len Hydrock with the advantage as they begin to swing left-handed now out of the backstretch and race towards the home turn. Len Hydrock from Wing and a Prayer, Ace of Spies against the grain, then Nohalmdun still going well in 5th. They've got 3 flights left to jump now as they swing into the straight. Len Hydrock from Wing and a Prayer. Then over on the far side, Ace of Spies. Nohalmdun is still making ground. Wing and a Prayer there, picked by Len Hydrock, and Wing and a Prayer with the advantage now from Ace of Spies against the grain. And Len Hydrock on the far side, and Nohalmdun just in behind them as they come down towards the second last now. Wing and a Prayer from Ace of Spies. Wing and a Prayer lands in the lead. Ace of Spies second. Len Hydrock is losing ground, and Nohalmdun is coming there to challenge them now strongly as they come down to the last. It's Wing and a Prayer from Nohalmdun and Ace of Spies at the final fight. Wing and a Prayer lands in the lead. Ace of Spies on the far side. Nohalmdun trying to challenge between horses. Wing and a Prayer on the near side from Nohalmdun. John Frankham from John Joe O'Neill as they race into the closing stages. Wing and a Prayer being pressed all the time by Nohalmdun. Wing and a Prayer from Nohalmdun. Wing and a Prayer accelerating triumphantly and at the line. Wing and a Prayer is the winner. Nohalmdun is second, and third is Ace of Spies, and 4 against the grain. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4 with Len Hydrock next. And behind them came Mary Jane, Dad's Gamble and Scholar, but a long way behind. So another fine, gutsy performance by this Wing and a Prayer. John Frankham unbeaten on this 4-year-old, and the result of the John Craig Victor Ludorum hurdle. First, number 3, Wing and a Prayer, owned by Mr. David Steele, trained by John Jenkins, written by John Frankham. Second was number 2, Nohalmdun, owned by Alsaby Farms Limited, trained by Peter Easterby and written by John Joe O'Neill. And third, number 4, Ace of Spies, owned by Mr. David G. and Horsewell, trained by Les Kennard and written by Brendan Powell. Fourth was number 5, Against the Grain.
And as they came to the second last, what a race was in prospect. You can see nearest to us the odds-on favourite, but he doesn't look odds-on at this point. But just watch how this horse jumps, pricks his ears, stands off and gets half a length. That was really impressive. But poised in behind him there in the pink colours on the left of the screen is John Joe O'Neill, the demon of Haydock Park. He simply loves riding here. He's riding No Harm Done, the 9-to-1 shot, and he's waiting for his moment. In between horses there is Against the Grain running a super race, an Ace of Spies in the yellow colours on the far side. But John Frankham on the favourite is going to need a good jump. He gets it because that's one thing that this horse can do. In fact, he can do many, many things, and guts is another thing because he's being challenged. It hadn't been a particularly fast race. The ground is very loose. He'd done the donkey work early on, had the lead taken off him, and now he's come back to lead. And now you can see John Joe, who really gets to work at this long straight here at Haydock Park. He simply loves it. He gets his horse balanced and then goes for home. Well, at this stage, it's anybody's race. The angle is slightly deceptive, but just look at these two good National Hunt jockeys going for it heads down, hands and heels going as well, and Wing and a Prayer now stretches away to win convincingly. This isn't the course that suits him. It's a very easy 2 miles, and anything he's done today, he's sure to improve on at Cheltenham, and I just hope they go for the Triumph Hurdle with this one.
2 lengths and 4 lengths, the official margin for this 7-to-4 on favourite, who gets a top quote of 7-to-1 for the Daily Express Triumph from Ladbrokes and a top quote of 20-to-1 for the Champion Hurdle.